What is going on, guys? This is your boy XQ420. I'm welcoming y'all back. Another episode, Showtime with the Cube. We have got a host of people. Of course, we got the co-host, as always, the powerful Corey Hughes. How you doing this afternoon, Corey?
Excellent, thank you.
Excelente. And today we have got a special guest, guys. I guess we can call him our resident DCEU expert, per se, Mr. Ryder Lee. Ryder, are you doing well this afternoon?
I'm doing great, and I'm really excited to talk about movies because this is what I originally wanted to do instead of the podcast that I'm currently doing right now. I really wanted to talk about movies. I would literally get on the internet and look up movie news and watch reviews on YouTube and like everything. That's where all this started for me. So it's
there
cool
you
being
go.
here.
Well, maybe we'll get you in on more episodes, join in on the fun that we have going on. Now, of course, you know me, your hostess with the mostest, XQ420. And if it's your first time to this channel, if you're looking at us on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. If you listen to us on podcast platforms, hit the follow button there. We appreciate everybody who has been checking us out so far. Today, we are going to be talking about the debacle that is the DCEU, DC Comics. Now, this thing has really, it really took a downturn right after the Black Adam film. Okay.
Yeah.
DC Comics, they made a switch, the movie studios, as far as the CEO, to James Gunn, and the Black Adam movie did not actually take off the way they thought it was. Now, I don't know if y'all heard this. The Black Adam movie was supposed to be almost like the start over of the DCEU, but it didn't work out that way. Ryder, give me a little insight on that.
How did the Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson star in a DC movie and it not break $1 billion?
Yeah, that was, I couldn't believe it.
It's ridiculous, but going back to the very beginning of this, I don't know if you guys remember, but in 2018, there was this big controversy with James Gunn on Twitter. He put out all of these really racist or homophobic and like all these series of tweets, and Disney fired him in 2018. The cast were really upset about that. They were like, oh yeah, I'm not going to do Guardians of the Galaxy 3 if James Gunn's not directing it, because they all basically loved James Gunn. So then James Gunn was like, all right, I'm going to do the switcheroo on you guys, and I'm going to DC. And that's whenever he made Suicide Squad 2. And then that's when Disney came back to him and was like, okay, we screwed up, blah, 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 blah. Go ahead and make your Guardians of the Galaxy 3. So that movie's not out yet. You guys have probably reviewed the trailer by now, Guardians of the Galaxy 3?
No, we actually haven't reviewed that trailer yet. It is still a little ways out, so I probably want to get another drop of a trailer before I dive into that one. I especially want to see how it coincides with the Ant-Man and the Wasp movie coming up right here, shortly in February. Now, you go ahead.
The big debacle here is, which is the biggest problem that they're having, is that they basically came out and said that Henry Cavill was returning as Superman.
Yeah. That I believe that from the rumors, from the sources, is that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson insisted on Henry Cavill being in that post-credit scene. Like they were like, no, we're not going to do it. And he's like, no, you're going to do it. And it kind of threw a monkey wrench into everything. I mean, you want to talk about, a big ass failure. It's like, oh, so everybody got excited over that. And then, a couple weeks later, it's like, yeah, I'm not returning anymore. And it's bad for him because he gave up his Witcher job. And then he thought he was coming back as Man of Steel. So he's just like, man, I'm on the outs. I mean, I don't know if he's working on any other projects. Corey, you know of any other projects?
I don't feel too bad. I don't know, but I don't feel too bad for that guy because he is going to have all kinds of stuff. Well, he's got the Warhammer 40K, which is going to be like, I think, a Netflix production.
That's going to be Amazon.
And he's a gamer. He's into it. He knows the lore. So if he does it right, it could be really good. But we'll see.
I want to talk a little bit later about Amazon because I feel like Amazon is making some crazy good moves right now, because that Warhammer series is going to be with Henry Cavill on Amazon. And then Amazon also snagged the producer and director of like really big Netflix series, the horror series, House on Haunted Hill, Haunting on Hill House, Black Mass, and A Haunting on Bly Manor, which was really big horror series on Netflix, and they just lost that director, and he's going to Amazon, and he's apparently making a Dark Tower series because
but as far as Amazon goes, like they just did the Lord of the Rings, and it was utter trash.
It was pretty. It was. There was a couple of characters that were intriguing, but overall, it was. It needed some work. Let's just say that it needed some work. What I want to do first, I want to actually talk about what we've gotten so far from the DCEU that is absolutely has been destroyed right now. Of course, the DCEU, the previous one, which is crazy, it's already in reboot, started off with the Man of Steel. All right. Now that has been heralded as a pinnacle film in the initial series. I thought the film was pretty good. What was y'all's take? Corey, I'm assuming you've watched that one, haven't you? The Man of Steel. Maybe it's been a while. It's 2013.
It's been a while.
So.
We're talking like that's the original Superman, right?
That's the
original Superman for the DCU.
For Henry Cavill. Yeah.
Right. Well, actually, in mentioning Man of Steel, Wikipedia has it listed as the first film, of the DCEU. So, real quick, let me just run through this list so we have a framework of what we've seen so far. So we had Man of Steel in 2013, and then in 2016 we had Batman vs Superman. Then we had Suicide Squad in 2016, and then 2017 had Wonder Woman and Justice League. Then Zack Snyder's Justice League 2021, Aquaman 2018, Shazam 2019, Birds of Prey 2020, Wonder Woman 1984 2020. Suicide Squad 2021, and Black Adam. So, and looking at this list of films, like, there's not a single film in this list that even, comes close to what was presented in such a grand scale on the Marvel side of things. Like, these films really are just kind of like, whatever.
I think the only ones that broke $1 billion was Wonder Woman and Aquaman. I don't think you can look that up. You can check that, but I'm pretty sure that those were the only two movies. Maybe Batman versus Superman, but I think it was really, really close. But the thing is James Gunn. James Gunn was like slated to become the new Kevin Feige of Marvel, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
And they fired him. He was going to be like Bob Iger's like right hand man, right? So DC just came in and swooped him up, and now James Gunn and Peter Stafford are running DC. Like, they don't have anybody to answer to. I don't know if you guys saw the tweets and stuff that are like going around about it, that, there's people saying, fire James Gunn. They're not going to fire James Gunn. Now, it is really interesting that the initial report that came out about it was saying that James Gunn was going to almost reboot everything, but keep certain things. Right, keep certain characters, and that's not sitting well with people. That's like the whole controversy here, because there is no more Man of Steel. So they're like, okay, well, if you're going to keep certain characters, if you're going to keep Suicide Squad that James Gunn directed, then why aren't you keeping Henry Cavill as Superman? Right, so it's like a really touchy thing. But I think that the whole thing is supposed to start after Aquaman 2, I believe.
Yeah. So, well, these next four films, Shazam, The Flash, Blue Beetle, and Aquaman, don't mean anything. Like they literally don't mean anything. They're just, we've already made them, so we just got to put them out. So it's like.
So you mean they're like filler, or they just no longer have any?
They don't mean
because of the change.
Anything. No. Because of the change, they don't mean a damn thing. Now, I think one of the beginning collapses of this particular universe, I think it has more to do with off screen, the issues with Ben Affleck as Batman, Ezra Miller being batshit crazy.
Oh my god, kids. Dude! Have you seen this?
But hey, once they were like, hey, Ezra Miller's stealing folk, okay? It's like, hey man, you're kind of an integral part of what we're trying to do here.
He came out and said that he was like the second coming of Christ and stuff. Ezra Miller did.
Yeah,
Crazy. He's been put in prison. Well, he's been put in jail like several times. He was just arrested like 6 months ago. But yeah, that's the thing is like, why do this announcement now when you have 4 other movies on the slate? And not only that, you also have Joker 2 that's already in production right now.
Yeah, you kind of, and you kind of undercut these next movies because the fans are like, well, hell, why am I going to go watch these? Because they're not going to matter in the future. It's going to be a complete reboot. Now, I think one of the issues that DC has or made is that they panic and they try to rush. I think that was the issue. You did your Superman movie, then all of a sudden you're doing your Batman versus Superman with Wonder Woman in it. Then you're doing your Justice League. I was like, you didn't have any build up. Period. Like you just went from your initial film, throw them all together. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but they have to do something different here, Ice Cube. They can't do the same exact formula. It's whenever they reboot this entire, because I think that they're just going to completely wipe the entire slate. They're going to go for a full-sale, complete reboot. They're going to axe everything, besides maybe Matt Reeves's Batman and Joaquin Phoenix's Joker, because they're kind of separate from everything else that they're
they're a separate universe per se. And I think also Shazam, that lead character, is staying in the DCEU as well, if I'm correct.
But that's the thing, like, why are they keeping certain characters and not keeping other characters? It doesn't quite make any sense. Like, you can't keep all of these people from a universe that no longer exists, right? I mean, that's how I feel about it. Like, you can't keep, Aquaman. You can't keep Zach, what's his name, from Shazam. You can't do that. You can't cross those people over. If you're going to do a reboot, you just got to go for it hard. Now, I think that keeping the Joker is fine, because have you seen the pictures of Lady Gaga as Harley Quinn online?
Oh no, I hadn't seen those yet.
Yeah, bring those bad boys up. She looks good as Harley Quinn. So you can keep the Joker and you can keep Batman. I think that what is a good possibility that I think that they probably should do, because they can't keep using the same Marvel formula. The Marvel formula is already burnt out. You can't do that anymore. Marvel's been steadily losing money after Avengers Endgame, right? So you have to do something different. And the rumor is that James Gunn is just going to go right out the gate with a new Justice League movie. He's just going to come out with a Justice League movie. He's going to cast a new Batman, new Superman, a new Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, and they're just going to do the whole thing, which some people might hate that idea, but I actually like it. I think because you just can't keep doing the same thing over. It's going to take too long.
The problem I have is that if he's going to reboot this stuff, it's like when they rebooted Spider-Man so many times so quickly over the years, it was like, what the fuck are these guys doing? You really want people to forget a little bit, because over time they'll only remember the good stuff, right? And so you give them a couple of years. I think what they really need to do is they have such an amazing catalog of characters that they could dig into. Like, I'm dying for a good Swamp Thing. Really, give me a goddamn Swamp Thing movie. Stall for a couple of years. Let people forget. Let them see some of your other characters. And then when the time is right, you bring back Superman, and then you ease in some other characters one at a time. And then you build up again to another Justice League. And even if it's 10 years from now, that's fine. These guys have plenty of time. They're not in any rush. I think that's how they should do it.
The juice is just going to be gone by that point. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, excuse.
Yeah, no, it's all good. Now, do you think that they are undercutting their franchise by having so many different universes going on at once? So you've got the Batman universe is Robert Pattinson. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You're going to have the Joker universe, which seems to be something totally separate from where Robert Pattinson's at, as we've seen, because they've got a totally different Joker in that particular film. And then you'll have the DCEU. So having so many different universes going on at one time, competing with each other, you're seeing totally different forms of movie across the board. So I think that may keep people disjointed. I mean, I want to know your thoughts on that.
That's one of the best parts about the DC universe, though, is they've done these separate kind of movies, like the Joker and Matt Reeves's Batman. Those were actually really good movies. I really liked the Batman. I thought the Batman was dope. It was super realistic, down to earth. Like it was, really gritty. And I think Robert, people hated on Robert Pattinson for not playing a good Bruce Wayne. But if you're a legit millionaire and you're running around in a bat suit and fighting crime all the time, that's the way that you're going to be as Bruce Wayne. It's going to be very hard to put on a facade of a luxurious billionaire. That's going to take a toll on you being Batman. So I really understood that. Now, James Gunn, if you follow James Gunn on Twitter, he responds to a lot of tweets and a lot of people's comments and stuff. And he said that the plan is to not only do the DCEU, but also keep doing these standalone films as well. So, I mean.
Okay, that's totally separate from the DCEU, correct? Yeah.
But they're still going to be DC characters.
Yeah, they'll still technically be DC characters. So I think sometimes that, because people will maybe get attached to a certain Batman, so it's kind of hard to. And of course, the previous films, when they made Batman films, they changed a whole lot. You know what I'm saying? If we're talking about Michael Keaton to who was George Clooney, who else did one?
Michael Keaton, George Clooney, then it was another guy.
Val Kilmer.
Val Kilmer. Yes.
There it was.
Horrible movie, but it's kind of campy and fun sometimes. That was Batman and Robin, right? With Jim Carrey as the Riddler.
Yeah.
I want to point something out. Like back then when you saw like a Batman movie or whatever superhero it was, there was zero expectation of it crossing over with any other superhero storylines. Like you didn't even think about it, didn't expect it. It just wasn't in the cards. That's a fairly new thing as of, I would have to say, as of the beginning of the Marvel universe.
Marvel, yeah. Yeah, because even the original Blade, it never gave you any indication. People didn't even know it was Marvel. They had no idea.
Yeah.
I mean, like at all. They're just like, oh man, we've got a half vampire per se. He's able to walk in the sunlight and he's killing vampires. This is cool. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, hey, that's a Marvel product, right? They're like, do what? Which kind of makes you scared on how they're going to do their newest Blade movie, because it has to be rated R. I mean,
I have the very original first appearance of Blade. It's from like 1973, before the Blade series that came out in the 90s. It was a Marvel Presents, I believe is what it was called. And it was more of a magazine style, but it was a comic book. And holy shit, if you read this comic book, it has got to be one of the most racist goddamn things you'll ever read in your fucking life. Blade is not presented in the nicest of manners. Let's just say that his English isn't so good in that book. And so, yeah, even for me, I was like, whoa, when I read that shit.
It touched a few nerves. Now,
Denzel Washington, he was a huge problem on the whole Blade trilogy. Like by the third Blade film, he was like so coked out and so pilled out. That's why Blade Trinity.
Are you talking about Wesley Snipes?
Oh, Wesley Snipes. Sorry,
yes,
my bad. Yeah. Wesley Snipes. He was like a huge problem, and then he got caught up for all that tax evasion stuff, and then he was kind of banned from Hollywood for a while. Then his first movie back was The Expendables Part 3. Remember The Expendables? They're making a new Fast and the Furious movie. They're doing Fast 10, dude, and they're bringing back Paul Walker's brother.
The last one. And somehow Gal Gadot is going to be alive after she fell off that airplane that was halfway in the sky. I'm not sure how, but look, it's okay.
I know how, because they got to do a part 10 to make that extra $1 billion, because they make $1 billion just in China off of that fucking thing.
Hell yeah!
You got a good point. Now, more on the end part of the destruction of the DCEU, this original. I guess Aquaman would be a fair enough film as far as that goes, but then right after that you had Shazam, which is okay. It's a little bit more fun. It's a little different. But then you go Birds of Prey, Wonder Woman 1984, which was absolutely garbage. I mean, Suicide Squad 2021, I thought that was decent. I liked the dynamic. Peacemaker was a good character. I thought Bloodsport was in there. I liked that they moved away from Deadshot. I was glad they didn't bring back Will Smith and all that for those for that particular film. So I thought the Suicide Squad was actually pretty decent. And then Black Adam, which Was it the greatest film ever? No, but I didn't think it was like, a 3 or a 2. You know what I'm saying? So, but they didn't exactly garner the success that they were that they thought they were going to, which of course led to this switch over. And I just think their ultimate demise came after Zack Snyder actually put out that Justice League, the extended cut that people were so hyped about and said, man, this is excellent. And then you just got that long list of just like drags of movies. What do y'all think about that?
Yeah, it turned out that Zack Snyder paid a bunch of bots to spam the shit out of Warner Brothers. And like none of those people were even real. They were all fake bots. So that's how he got his movie made, because he was pissed off that they kicked him off and they got, what's his name? The guy that directed the first 2 Avengers movies, Joss Whedon, to come in and finish the first Justice League movie.
Joss Whedon has done some great stuff, for sure. He did Cabin in the Woods, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. And also Peter Stafford, he's the co-head of DC along with James Gunn. He's produced really good movies too. He did all the Conjuring movies. He produced The Nun. The list goes on. He's done a crazy good amount of movies. So I think that they're really going to be a good team. I just don't see, something has to come out soon. I think that we'll get some kind of revelation about it here in like a month, like, January, February or something like that. And they'll come out and be like, hey, but again, like, why would you announce this at all when you still have 4 movies left in your belt that's supposedly supposed to be a part of this DC extended universe? Was Jared Leto's Joker at the end of Birds of Prey? Was he in a extended scene?
I don't think it was Jared Leto. I don't believe it was. I don't think Jared Leto was in Birds of Prey. I'm pretty positive he wasn't.
One of them, he was like in a like post-credit scene. I'm not sure which DC movie that was.
Well, they had that whole issue there with the Suicide Squad with all those scenes that he had recorded, and he was on had screen time of like 2 minutes. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, I don't know. It just seems like a whole lot of mismanagement throughout the entirety of trying to create this universe. And as I said before, I just think it was just more of a panic. You know what I'm saying? They seen how well Marvel was doing. Marvel had a 5-year head start. I believe they started theirs in 2008 with Incredible Hulk and Iron Man. So Marvel had a 5-year start. By that time, they had an Avengers film out. It was working its way up to Thanos, and they're like, dude, we're behind. You know what I'm saying? It's like, man, just start putting something out, man. We need to put something out. Man is still decent enough, but then you've got some of these other films. I say, for me, Man of Steel, Wonder Woman. I still hadn't seen the Zack Snyder Justice League yet, but Aquaman and the latest Suicide Squad. That's probably some of your more highlights for me. But at the end of the day, nobody could really jive with the characters or felt like the universe was going any type of significant direction, because we all know who, Thanos was Marvel, Darkseid's DC. Let's just see it. You know what I'm saying? So, which I think you've seen, if I'm correct, they said you've seen a little bit more of Darkseid in the Zack Snyder's cut, correct?
Yeah, the Zack Snyder cut actually isn't too bad. The only thing that's really annoying about it is a lot of the graphics and the editing and the CGI isn't the best in like a lot of scenes, but it's watchable. I had to watch it in like 4 days because it's like a 4.5 hour long movie. But it wasn't horrible. It wasn't horrible, but they did the right thing. There's no way that they could have released that movie in a theater. There's no way that someone's sitting there for 4.5 hours to watch a freaking Justice League movie.
I remember when I watched the first Hulk movie with Eric Bana, where it straight up had an intermission in it. That movie was like 3 hours and 45 minutes.
That's
really? God,
yes.
That's long.
It straight up had an intermission in the movie. Like they stopped the movie and say, piss break. I was like, dude, what? I was like, man, what is going on? Of course, we had Wakanda Forever right here recently that was 2 hours and 40 minutes. Is Avatar like 3 hours? Isn't Avatar 3 hours?
It's like 3 hours and 2 minutes.
It's making so much money, and like there's absolutely nothing appealing about it. I just don't want to see it. I don't want to see it. I don't want to know nothing about it. It just is like, it looks like a complete waste of time.
3 hours and 12 minutes. Hey, 121,000 people got an 8 out of 10. You know what I'm saying, on IMDb. I mean, they saying it's good. Ish.
But that's the thing about those kinds of movies, though, is like it's all about the CGI and like the visuals of it. Like once that hits streaming, anywhere on streaming, it's going to bomb because it's the story isn't there. I saw the first Avatar movie, and there was nothing good about it besides the graphics and the CGI, and that was like their big, huge ploy to get people to go to the theater. They're like, yeah, highly advanced graphics, 50 years in the future kind of graphics and stuff, you know. But the story was awful. Horrible storyline, and I'm guessing that this second Avatar movie is going to have a horrible storyline too.
Yeah, that's some of the more critical people who, as far as who review movies, mainly neurotic. You know, they're going to go in on movies. They kind of bombed it. There's a lot of people who's praising it though, and you know, I think that's more of a theater experience type of deal. Because sometimes you experience a movie in a theater, and of course you've got, you know, the great surround sound, that crystal clear picture, and things as big and epic, and so sometimes it can make a movie feel grander than what it actually is.
Yeah. So
I don't know if y'all think that's the case.
I think that that's definitely the case with those kinds of movies, but I kind of want to get your guys' thoughts on what you think that they should do with this rebooted DC extended universe. Like, should they completely full sail wipe it, start over clean, or keep some of the characters, keep some of them, not keep the other ones, keep the ones that are not a part of the extended universe, like Joker and Matt Reeves' Batman? Or like, what do you think that they should do?
Corey, I'll let you go first.
Well, I was kind of shocked at this kind of sudden, you know, rebooting of everything, and so I don't know. I still need some time to kind of process it because I didn't really have a problem with Henry Cavill, you know, at all. I thought he was fine. Wasn't one of the reasons that he got cut was because he was too old?
Is it?
I think that was one of the comments that was made. Which I can kind of understand. The guy's, what, 35, 36? I mean, I can see Superman being in his early 20s.
Yeah, but damn, I mean, Hugh Jackman was able to stay jacked at 50. You know what I'm saying? That might have been via steroids or whatever.
But that was part of that was true to the story. You know, that Wolverine was an old guy in the story, so that wasn't so much of a stretch.
Yeah, but he still had to stay jacked, though.
True.
I mean, like, completely jacked. I mean, I know what he was saying. He was eating green beans and chicken and working out 3 times a day. I mean, there was a little HGH involved in that as well. Don't lie to me.
Hugh Jackman's coming back in the new Deadpool 3.
Oh,
do you guys know that?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did see that. I'm trying to see how. Okay, so
I forget. Did he die in he died in the last movie?
He died in Logan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like, great movie.
Did he really?
Well,
yeah, I mean, he was pretty much there.
He's saying that it takes place before Logan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's what they're trying to say.
Yeah,
so it doesn't mess with the continuity of those original X-Men films, which I really like the original X-Men films. I thought they were dope.
Okay. So Cavill's about to be 40. So I guess you could technically say he would be too old if you weren't going to go ahead and hurry up and get stuff through. Yes, you could technically say that. As far as what I think about the direction of it, everything in the DC starts and ends with Superman and Batman. So you have to get those 2 films correct out the gate. There's going to have to be that. You're going to have, as always, if you're doing a Batman film, you have to have a good Joker. Let's just see it, man. I mean, that's the arch nemesis. I know they had the Penguin and stuff in the back, and the Matt Reeves one. It went a little bit different direction, even though, you know, they had a moment there where you seen the Joker, which I don't know if that's going to be the best pick for a Joker, because I'm assuming they're going to make a sequel to that film. But that's going to be your main intriguing thing, and I think Heath Ledger did everybody a disservice when he did so good on The Dark Knight. It's just like, a Joker comes out, which I thought Joaquin Phoenix, I thought that Joker movie was great, the take on that one. But with the job that Heath Ledger did, man, boy, you've got to come with something unique. You know what I'm saying? And that's what the hardcore DC fans are looking for.
But how do you do that movie whenever there's already a Matt Reeves Batman trilogy? He signed on for a trilogy. He didn't. So how do you do a separate standalone Batman movie if the goal is to keep Matt Reeves' trilogy and keep the Joker?
That's what makes it hard, man. That's what makes it difficult. So let's look at what Marvel did. Okay, so technically, Spider-Man is still Sony's product. But they borrowed the rights of it, and Sony didn't simultaneously make Spider-Man movies to offset that. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I said having these universes all at the same time, and even though Sony has made some quote-unquote Marvel Universe characters with Venom, Morbius, you haven't really, which they did a little bit of a crossover with Venom in the most recent movie, Spider-Man No Way Home, but they didn't undercut themselves by using a bunch of characters that were in Marvel currently, that Marvel was currently using. So I think that's what's going to be very difficult, especially with a completely separate Batman and a completely separate Joker going on at the same time, because I don't know if they're going to make Joaquin Phoenix's Joker a trilogy or not.
And
I'm not sure.
That makes it to the only way that you can do it is if you start out directly with a Justice League film.
Damn.
So that's if you're going to keep the Joker and Matt Reeves' Batman, then you just have to come out the gate straight away with a Justice League film. You can't be producing two different Batman movies at the exact same time with two different actors playing them.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Man, it's just, I don't know though. It's just, okay. So if I jump right into a Justice League film, now I will admit that I don't know a ton about the comic book side of Justice League. Who is going to be their first villain they're going to be going against? Because you ain't going to put Darkseid right out the gate. I mean, there's just no way you can. I mean, if you put Darkseid out the gate and you kill Darkseid, you just be like, well, damn, Bo, shut down production. You know what I'm saying? This is over. So who would be their first villain that they would take on in their first Justice League movie?
Well, you can kind of do it like, well, I mean, it's kind of what they already did. They, in the original Justice League, directed by Joss Whedon, they started with Steppenwolf. Steppenwolf was like the right-hand man to Darkseid, and he came down and he was trying to get all the boxes together to open up that portal to bring Darkseid onto Earth. All right, so you could possibly do something like that again, but try and not make it connected directly to Darkseid. Like, don't reveal Darkseid at all, just like they didn't reveal Thanos until like the 8th or 9th movie, or maybe it was sooner. Mm-hmm. It might have been sooner, but it was a while before in that post-credit scene where Thanos turned around and you realized that Thanos is the one that's pulling all of the strings. Mm-hmm. And so they could do something like that if that's the direction that they're wanting to go with the Marvel direction, which I really don't think that that's the smartest idea. And I think that James Gunn has something up his sleeve, because there's no way that he's just going to directly follow in Marvel's footsteps, like right out the gate. You lose too much interest, and people can already predict what you're going to do. Right? So if you catch them off guard and just dump a Justice League right on everyone's lap with new characters, then you can spread off out of that, right? And you can make these solo individual movies. It's kind of like the reverse order that Marvel did it.
Mm-hmm. Now, I'm looking at, I just went to this site just to see what the top 10 villains of Justice League are, and I don't know any of these. The Sparrow, the White Martians, Prometheus, in Justice League, which is like a bunch of super villains, Lex Luthor, Joker, Amazo, Secret Society of Supervillains, Anti-Monitor, Starro, Crime Syndicate of America, and Darkseid. So I don't know, man.
I don't know any of those.
Yeah, it's just like I'm just like I'm understanding what you're saying, Ryder. I mean, no doubt about it. Now that you said that with Matt Reeves's Batman, it's just like, well, shit, man, they can't do that. So it's just the villain has to be intriguing. It has to be. If the villain's not intriguing, then the movie's gonna fall flat. I mean, that's gonna be the main issue, and that's the issue that I'm having right here recently with Marvel, is that they're not making their villains intriguing. Even some that they're like hyping up, like let's say like recently Thor: Love and Thunder, Gore the God Butcher. I need to see him butchering some gods, and it would have been fine if you would have made that a 2-parter. I'd have been fine with that. You know what I'm saying? So to kind of extend that out, you could have still had Jane passing away at the end of this, them losing in some type of way, and extend out that character of Gore the God Butcher, because everybody was so intrigued about it, was ready for it, and you kind of just got like, yeah, it's like, damn. It's like Taskmaster and Black Widow. You're like, oh shit, Taskmaster, this motherfucker could read your moves. This is gonna be a hell of it. And Taskmaster like fought like twice, and you're like, oh, well, who's the villain? I mean, you know what I'm saying? So it's just like, man, if they want to keep this thing off right, they've got to nail the villain.
Wasn't the Taskmaster really similar to Jessica Jones's enemy in the first season of Jessica Jones? Weren't they almost the exact same type of person?
I haven't seen the Jessica Jones series.
Yeah, that was more of like a mob style character.
Yeah, but it was kind of the same thing. Like he was like this super psychic, and he could like know where you're going to be and know your next move. And Jessica Jones basically running from it. I forget his name. I have to look it up. I need to rewatch the Jessica Jones series because I really liked it, and I like the Punisher series too. And apparently they're bringing John Bernthal back into the Punisher role on Disney Plus as well. So not only are we getting Daredevil, but we're getting John Bernthal too.
Daredevil had some recent appearances on She-Hulk, which is arguably the worst show in the history of shows.
It might very well be the worst show ever, but look, I thought I've seen some bad stuff in my life, but when I seen that, I was like, man, they ain't no way somebody spent money on this. Like they spent money on it, they brought it back to them, somebody edited it, and then they said, yeah, we're gonna put it out. They should have just scrapped it like they did Batgirl. You know what I'm saying? They're like, look,
Batgirl could not have been worse.
We lost $80 million, okay?
Well,
hey, look, we just lost $80 million, okay? I mean, hey, when this comes out, I mean, that's it, but you know what I'm saying? Just cut our losses, you know what I'm saying? We're just going to smoke right out. But yeah, so intriguing villain. I guess you can do, doesn't Green Lantern have some villains that might be, but I guess you have to start with somebody on Earth, wouldn't you? Per se?
Yeah,
Maybe.
Really all DC has is like Lex Luthor and Darkseid and Steppenwolf and all that, but it already feels so played out because of the Justice League stuff and the recut of Zack Snyder's Justice League. So it's like, are people really going to want to pay for that same kind of reboot of almost the exact same story? It would have to be done so good, so mind-blowing.
And differently, and completely differently.
But one thing that was really interesting is before James Gunn and Peter Stafford took over DC, Michael Keaton was slated to reprise his role as Batman in a Batman Beyond movie with a younger Batman, and then Michael Keaton was going to be the trainer or the apprentice. Like young Batman was going to be the apprentice of Michael Keaton. So but they scrapped that. Like basically everything's scrapped. They scrapped it all. They told Patty Jenkins, they're like, hey, you're not going in the direction that we want. Patty Jenkins is out, which I thought Wonder Woman 84. Was that what it was? Wonder Woman 80. I don't even remember the freaking title because it was so bad.
1984. It was all over the place. And when I got done with the movie, I'm like, y'all shouldn't have made this one. Y'all should have just let that ride out. You know what I'm saying?
That's because they gave Patty Jenkins too much control. See, on the first Wonder Woman, Patty Jenkins came on late. She came onto the project really late, so it had already been mapped out. The storyline had already been done, and then she had full control over the second Wonder Woman, which was 1984, and she just went all weird and crazy. She literally filmed that movie like it was filmed in 1984, which was the worst, the worst choice you could have possibly ever have made.
It was pretty bad. Now, I have heard right here recently that they're having to go back in post-production and actually change some of these movies, actually cut out Batman, Superman, in multiple of these movies that's coming out. If I'm correct, I believe they were supposed to have some cameos or appearances in The Flash. So is The Flash even going to be any good? Is it even going to make any sense?
It was supposed to come out like 3 years ago.
Do we know what the storyline is?
Did it? I only know if they finished filming it. I mean, they didn't finish filming it. Let's see.
Yeah, The Flash has been a complete dumpster fire. It was supposed to come out like 2 to 3 years ago. Then it got pushed back because of all the debacle with Ezra Miller, and then he kept getting into trouble, and they kept pushing it back. At this point, just scrap that film. Let it go.
Off the market. They're not really telling us a whole lot about the actual film when I go to Wiki. And I thought they were going to almost have like a reboot there. Some people were kind of making some background rumblings, like he was going, can he like run in reverse or whatever, and like turn back time or put you in an alternate universe or something like that. And that's something that he can do, like almost reverse time or something like that.
Yeah, he can go backward. Yeah. He can go backward in time and forward in time. Sorry, I'm coughing. Mm-hmm. But if you're DC, if you're Warner Brothers right now, are you really going to let Ezra Miller go out on a promotional trail for The Flash?
No way.
Given his past behavior and all the comments that he's made over the past.
Man, they haven't even promoted the film like a teaser or anything. I got man. DC, I think they're about to lose a ton of money over these next 4 films. I mean, a ton of money. And I don't know, because they were already supposedly in the works on a Flash sequel from this movie that's coming out. So it's just like, man, I don't think I've quite seen a direction of films crumble so quickly. You know what I'm saying? It's just it's just like you're talking about, you know, what's we talking about? We're talking about 9 years worth of work. Well, if we go 2023, we're talking about 10 years worth of work, and then all of a sudden it's like, yeah, it ain't working out. It's like, dude, we are. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 12. We are 16 movies in, and it's not working now. I'm like, man, you just feel like, and that just let you know how much money these companies have, that they're able to just, well, we're just going to scrap everything, and we're going to pretty much throw away our last 4 films to reboot it and hope that James Gunn saves us. Now, James Gunn has done a few good things, but do you think he has the capability to reverse course on this and actually make a competent DCEU universe?
Well, I haven't personally even seen a comprehensive list of what their interpreted problems were that led to this moment. So I'm still kind of like in a state of uncertainty over what's actually going on. So it's kind of hard to navigate forward from here.
Well, it was really all James Gunn. Like, he came in, he became the head of DC along with Peter Stafford, and he just decided to scrap it all. And like I said, he was supposed to be the successor of Kevin Feige at Marvel. he was like Bob Iger, which is the top of Marvel Studios, is like right-hand man. Like that's who James Gunn was going to be. He was going to kind of step in and take Kevin Feige's place whenever Kevin Feige was ready to hang up the cape. So it's not so much that I don't think that he's capable. I just don't think that there's enough time.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
there's
okay.
really not. There's too much catch up to do.
Mm-hmm.
Way too catch up. I mean, what phase is Marvel on right now?
Phase 5.
So it's like
phase 5.
If you completely reboot and you start out with all these single movies, like Marvel did, then you've just wasted all this time. And I don't think that that's going to be conducive to the audience.
Yeah, you've wasted 16 movies.
Because Marvel has done the exact same thing. Like whenever you're copying people, like DC attempted to do with the Zack Snyder extended universe, like he was just trying to straight up copy Marvel, but it didn't work out because there wasn't enough planning. Everyone wasn't on the same page with anything, right? Marvel's got all that stuff locked down. Like Marvel's literally fired directors. He fired the original director for Ant-Man because the director wanted to take it in a different direction and didn't want it to really be a part of the extended universe. And Marvel was like, nope, out, gone. So it's like, DC wasn't on that same wavelength that they have, but now they have James Gunn, which knows all of the inner workings of Marvel, how Marvel operates, how they get all of their things done, how they make all of their movies, because he was there. Right? And he was slated to be this big, producer and filmmaker of Marvel. So it's not out of the realm of possibility that, he has the capability to do it. I just don't know if there's enough time to be able to do it adequately and make as much money as they're expecting to make.
Right. A big thing's going to be casting. I'm trying to think of names that I could throw in there as far as a new Batman and a new Superman, a new Wonder Woman. I don't really have any names. Do y'all have any names or anybody that you would have in mind that you think would be good in these roles? I don't know. I'm trying to think of up and coming actors, but a lot of them's trash. So. I really don't know.
You know who I like? Who's like in this new generation of actors that's coming up? Ortega, who just was Wednesday Addams in the Tim Burton Wednesday on Netflix.
Okay,
she's hot and she's a good actress, and I could see her doing something.
There it goes, guys. Right out the gate, she's hot.
Right out the gate, the fuck. What else, man? What else is there?
So, hey, look, man, she's hot, so we can definitely put her in a movie. All right.
Well, what they can do is normally what DC has done is the runner-up for every one of these superhero people that they've cast. The runner-up for that has been the next person. That happened with Henry Cavill. He was the runner-up for Brandon Routh's Superman in 2004, I believe, or 2005, whenever that Brandon Routh shitty Superman movie came out. Henry Cavill was the runner-up to play Superman in that film, and then they casted him later on for to play Superman in Man of Steel. So I'm sure that they've had some runner-ups to play like Batman, and whoever the runner-up would be to play the runner-up to what's his name, the guy that plays Superman, Henry Cavill. Whoever the runner-up would have been to him would probably be the next Superman, and whoever was the runner-up to Robert Pattinson in the Batman would be the new Batman. That's been kind of like a history thing that they've done with the casting, so it kind of makes sense.
Okay. All right. Well, I don't know that you've got to nail those. I feel like you got to nail it. Like you can't whiff on those. And of course, there's been a ton of uproar with Henry Cavill getting the boot, and people getting their feelings and all that stuff, and it's kind of unfortunate, but it's just kind of the way things currently worked out for him, unfortunately. So it'd be very interesting in seeing, and I'm wondering when that next initial film would be even coming out for the reboot. It'd have to be 2025, 2026. It'd have to be 2-3 years away. What do you think about that?
couldn't be any sooner. I mean, it takes time to put these movies together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So do you think by that time people will have had a reboot in their mind, or we'll probably have another Batman film, the Matt Reeves, and another Joker film in between that? That would be the case, correct? More than likely.
See, I just want to see some smaller scale films. I don't need all this big stuff. I don't need all these 10 superhero overlap movies. I like the Batman because it was focused on the Batman world, and it didn't really even imply about having any connections to anything else, and I thought that was fine. I'd like to see more of that.
Oh, you're muted.
The runner-up for Batman, what is Nicholas Hoult? I don't know if you guys. I was just trying to look it up really quick because it kind of makes sense that they would, do that. And Nicholas Hoult, I think, was in Mad Max: Fury Road. He was in Warm Bodies, Jack the Giant Slayer, and like a bunch of. I think he might have been Flash and one. No,
he was Beast.
He might have been.
He was Beast.
He was Beast. X-Men First Class. Yeah. Yeah, so that was the runner-up for Robert Pattinson's Batman. So he kind of looks the part. Maybe, I mean, I think that from what I've heard from James Gunn and the rumors and everything, is that they're trying to cast young actors, like between 25 and no older than 30, for like all of these roles. Mm-hmm. So.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
We'll see.
Yeah, so they can probably grow with them over the next 15, 20 years. That's what I would assume. Now, now, do you think that James Gunn has any plans to do what Marvel has done and extend his universe into the television world? Now, they did do the Peacemaker series. I haven't seen that, but I've heard great reviews about that particular series as far as Peacemaker. But do you think he has some plans to do that?
That's the other question. Is James Gunn did direct and produce Peacemaker along with Peter Safran as well. So it's like, is he going to take that into this new DCEU? Is he going to take Suicide Squad? Like, I think that's like the huge question that's on everyone's mind. Like, how can you take a select few of these people and not take everyone? And how can you not take everyone and take a select few? Right. So it's like a conundrum that they have. And I heard good things about Peacemaker too. There hasn't really been anything on what they're doing with Peacemaker. What streaming service is that on?
There's a season 2. That's on HBO Max.
HBO Max.
They did say it's going to be a season 2, but I mean, everybody I watched, they have raving reviews. I'm gonna get around to watching that at some point in time. But I thought Peacemaker was a fantastic part of the newest Suicide Squad movie. One of my favorite lines is like, "Yeah, I'm about I'm gonna maintain peace. If I got to kill every man, woman, and child to do so, that's what I'll do." I was like, "Oh man, that's a great line." But I thought that was pretty good. But yeah, it'll be interesting. Of course, I do think oversaturating the market as far as the way Marvel did with their TV shows. Is probably not the best way to go, only because a lot of them sucked. I mean, it's just all there is to it. A lot of them just weren't good. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
yeah. Same with the Obi-Wan Kenobi show too. I was so disappointed in the Obi-Wan Kenobi show. I thought that was going to be so badass. Then it turned out to just be a dumpster fire.
What's crazy? You got Andor. Andor was fantastic. I don't know if you've seen that.
I haven't watched Andor yet. Corey's been trying to get me to watch it.
Andor was fantastic. Fantastic. I mean, guys, whoever the writers were on that, I mean, give them some more gigs, okay? That's all I'm saying. From start to finish, but it had you intrigued. Of course, they're going to have a season 2 of that as well. So that'll be interesting if they've got any plans as far as delving into the TV side. I'm assuming they're going to have to, because they have seen somewhat of a success per se with that on the Marvel side. It just continues to have eyes on your product and continue to extend the universe. Whether it's good or not, most people will watch it, and most people will ultimately give it at least decent reviews from what I've seen.
But here's the thing, I think that they should do that and get into TV, but I think that the TV thing should be its own separate universe too. Kind of like the CW, DC shows like The Flash, Green Arrow. There was a couple of other DC.
They got Doom. They got Doom Patrol.
Doom Patrol.
And so they got DC Titans that's on was it TNT? Then they got a whole separate Titans that's on. I don't know if it's the same one or not. It's on HBO, and that's folk getting their head cut off and stuff. So it's like two totally different things. It's like, man, so. I think that's one of the issues is that they've got so many projects that don't tie into each other, and they're just all over the place, and so that stretches people so thin. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
As opposed to okay, I just watched this TV show. I just watched 2 seasons of this, and then I go watch this over here. It's like, well, none of those characters I like is in this, and it doesn't have anything to do with this. So, hold on, what am I watching now? Okay, I watched that. Oh, now I've got a new Joker out that didn't have anything to do with the DCEU, with this other TV show, and so.
Well, I think if they would do it like Marvel did it on Netflix, right? Because I really think that the Marvel Netflix TV series would have been a hit. It would have been a giant freaking hit, right? Because it was its own separate thing. They didn't cross over with any of them because it was leased out to Netflix. Netflix just had the rights to use those characters while Marvel still owned them. But in the midst of that, Disney decided to create their own streaming service. So they canceled that contract with Netflix and was like, yeah, by the way, you can keep all the things that we did with you over on Netflix, but we're going to do our own thing over here on Disney. So I think if there's a long term one of those, if they were to do it like on HBO, right? Like you can do like a DC extended universe show series on HBO, just like how they did it on Netflix's Marvel, where the characters kind of crossed over at some point. Like Luke Cage was in Jessica Jones was in Luke Cage, Iron Fist was in all that, and then they have the big team up thing. I think if that's done right on DC's half, on their behalf, I think it could be a huge freaking hit, especially if it's on HBO. HBO just puts out nothing but bangers.
Yeah, and what that can do is give more light to your some of the characters that are not more well known, and give people something a little bit different. I think one of the things, because I always think, Deathstroke. I always want to see Deathstroke in a movie, and I just don't ever get to see him. I'm just like, man, I mean, the man's a ninja. He's a ninja assassin. I mean, who don't want to see a ninja assassin in the movie? You know what I'm saying? So it's just I was like, man, let's get Deathstroke in a movie. You know what I'm saying? So I don't. It seems that they always cut it short. We end up having the same villains all the time, and they've got some of these other villains and other characters as far as heroes that they haven't delved into. And I think doing some of that in the midst of having your bigger characters will actually breathe a little bit of life into DC. What do y'all think about that?
I don't know what can breathe new life into anything these days. We have had such a poor showing of entertainment for the last couple of years that it's just really hard to say. And I have to wonder if some of the people we actually like in movies, like Henry Cavill as Superman, do we really like him, or are we just kind of settling for him? Honestly, because I'm not overly thrilled about the guy, never have been. And I don't want to put any hopes on him on anything moving forward.
Well, I mean, he did fit a good Superman. Like he looked the part of Superman. Now, whether you think he was a good Superman or not, he was buff. He was ripped. Like he
looked like a Clark Kent. He looked like a Clark Kent. You know what I'm saying? That's what he looked like.
Yeah.
Which, hey guys, help me out here, okay? Help me out, all right? And I still don't get it to this day. Clark Kent will be at work with eyeglasses on, okay? Oh, hey, Clark. He'll take the eyeglasses off and become Superman, and you know what I hear?
There's a story for that one too, but I'll have to tell you off the air.
There is no story.
Remember the story about the troll? Well, it's similar. I'll have to tell you off the air.
Oh shit! Dang. Look, that's my one pet peeve with Superman. Is the fact that he just took his eyeglasses off, and nobody knows who he is. And I'm just like, this shit ain't right, man. Y'all got to give me something else than that. Ryder, help me out. Am I missing something?
Yes, you are, and I'll tell you after the show.
Okay.
I don't really know the backstory to that or anything, but Deathstroke was in a DC film. He was in a post-credit scene of Josh Whedon's Justice League, I believe. So you did have your Deathstroke in there for just, I think, like a 10, 20 seconds in there somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
A Deathstroke that I'll never see. And I think that Deathstroke was in one of these TV series, and he was played by the guy who was a wolf on True Blood. God, what's that cat's name? I haven't thought
of that show in a long time.
Dude, I know one thing. Look, bud, when that dude on True Blood, when that dude took his shirt off, man, you felt like you need to go get some more clothes. I'm just like, I said, this dude is got muscles on muscles. Let me go find me some more clothes. I start putting jackets on in the house. It'd be 100 degrees in the house, man. I need some more clothes on around this cat. But I mean, literally, like if he went to the pool and he took his shirt off, you're like, man, I'm going home, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm taking it to the house, bro. This dude, he got us whooped. Okay, he got us clearly whooped. But
I like True Blood. I watched the first season of True Blood, I believe, and I didn't watch it after that. But I heard it got really good. I just didn't have the time because
the last season got just like
all shows get really good and then they go to dog shit. It's just like a fucking rule. They have to. It's
that last season. What they're trying to wrap it up, and it's just like, hey guys, you ain't got to make it just sloppy when you wrap it up. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's just be a sloppy end. It's just people be all over the place. Somebody will be almost damn near immortal. Can't nobody. I just feel like, man, we ain't got to do that. You know what I'm saying? It's just.
Well, I think it's normally because of the showrunners. They're tired of doing the freaking show. That happened with David Weiss and Benioff of Game of Thrones. That last season that everyone hated. They were just sick of doing Game of Thrones. They wanted to do something different, and they signed like this $1 billion contract with Netflix, and then the last season of Game of Thrones premiered, and Netflix canceled their contract.
They could have waited for my man to finish the book. I mean, that could have been.
I don't think that book's ever going to get finished, bro. I think.
Yeah, not now. He's just like, man, y'all scarred my legacy. I ain't finished shit.
Someone's going to have to do a rewrite and a mashup of his book whenever he dies, and it's going to be god awful. But he won't be around here to see all the complaints and all the hate that he gets. That's his plan, I think.
Yeah. This is true. This is true. Now I'm looking up here of what they had of other potential films that may be coming out for the DCEU, but I don't know if this was pre James Gunn being involved in this. But they had the Amazons. I heard something about Black Canary, Booster Gold, which I don't know what that is. Booster Gold and Blue Beetle. I don't know what that is. Deadshot.
Is that a show on Hulu? I think.
Is it?
What's the one with John Cena? John Cena's like a superhero on Hulu.
No. John Cena's Peacemaker. He's Peacemaker.
Oh
on
yeah. Peacemaker.
He's Peacemaker.
Yeah.
Okay.
But there's another one that was on Hulu. I think that was Blue Beetle. I'm not sure
though. Deadshot, Gotham City Sirens, Green Lantern Corps, which they haven't even tried to touch Green Lantern since they did that Ryan Reynolds one. I mean, they ain't even. It's just like, look, Green Lantern's we just not even gonna mess with it. Okay, we fumbled that bag so bad, man. Let's just let that thing die. Okay, let's let Green Lantern die. Let's see, Untitled James Gunn film. I like that Untitled one. Untitled Justice League. Lobo. Okay, so what do y'all think about this? All right, now I've heard a whole lot of rumors that after Aquaman 2, they're going to recast Jason Momoa as Lobo. What do y'all think about that?
That's what I heard too.
Does that make any sense?
It really doesn't, because again, it comes down to like, well, if you're just going to recast all these characters in different roles within it's confusing. It's going to confuse the audience. So either way you go, like you're screwed, right? Because if you don't reboot the entire thing, then you're leaving hangover time between the ones that's coming out and the ones that are getting ready to come out. So it's just like, I don't know what they're thinking or what they're doing, but I really believe that they're just going to come out and just wipe the entire thing. But yeah, I don't understand that. We'll get rid of Jason Momoa as Aquaman, and then we'll just recast him in a different role within the new DCEU that James Gunn.
It's just like,
it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, well, he'd be the perfect Lobo. I'm like, well, but he's already Aquaman, though. But I guess you can be multiple superheroes. I mean, you got to think, was it Steve Rogers, Captain America? He was
the Human Torch.
Fantastic, Human Torch, yeah. So he did that, but you had a long gap.
There was like a decade between them too.
Yeah, I was about to say, there was a long gap in between those films.
And then Ryan Reynolds was Green Lantern, and then he was Deadpool in the Wolverine standalone Fox film, and then he came out with their own
completely separate Deadpool,
which was awesome. Like, that was basically like all fan funded. They released that footage. I don't know if you guys remember when that came out, but some leaked footage came out at Comic-Con that year that happened, and it was like it was like a rendering, like a sketch of like what Deadpool would be like, and it had like music and all. And then the fans basically funded it because Fox was going to kill it. They're going to kill it right dead in the water. And the fans were like, "Nah, we want this movie because it's going to be good," and it turned out to be a hit.
Okay. All right. So here's some other series that are in development as well. Of course, they're doing Peacemaker season 2, but we've got some other ones. The Metal Men. Not sure what that is. Nightwing, Plastic Man, Static Shock, Zatanna, and then they're supposedly going to have an Amanda Waller series, and of course she's the bad bitch who's over the Suicide Squad, so she's just like, supposed to have a Constantine series supposedly, so that does look like that they are working on some TV series as far as that goes. A Justice League Dark.
Wasn't there already a Constantine series? Didn't they redo a series at some point?
Yeah, I thought
that was really no good at all. And there was some overlap with the Constantine series with Legends of Tomorrow, which has had its moments, but it's kind of fucking off the chain ridiculous now.
Okay, yeah. So this Constantine series, they're in development with HBO Max, so it does look like their series. That's where they're going to be coming out at. Justice League Dark. Let's see, Madame X, whatever. Suicide Squad spinoff series. Now some of the canceled projects, which we know Batgirl was canceled. They were going to have a Ben Affleck's The Batman, but they scrapped that. We talked about the Batman Beyond. They scrapped the Black Adam sequel, which the Rock said, he came out recently and said, yeah, he's done. Crisis on Infinite Earths film, Cyborg was scrapped. Deathstroke was scrapped. Green Lantern was scrapped.
What do you want to bet that Dwayne The Rock Johnson goes to Marvel?
Ooh. Who would he play?
I don't know, but I feel like that's something that he would do if he's actually really upset about James Gunn canceling Black Adam 2. He would just dip off and go to Marvel, just like DC did with Marvel and went to DC. So I could see it, I could see that happening in some kind of way. I honestly haven't watched hardly any of the new Marvel movies. I think that they've all just been garbage, so I have absolutely no idea what's going on. I attempted to watch the Immortals movie, and I got like halfway through it.
Oh, you're talking about Eternals. The Eternals.
Yeah, Eternals, yeah.
Hey, look, all I know is that there's an Eternal sticking out of Earth. And since that point in time, I've had 4 of the movies and nobody said anything. If there is an Eternal sticking out of the water and like his hands like sticking out of Earth and ain't nobody flown by it or anything, I'm just like, because somebody mentioned this new massive landform that we have out here that looks like some type of being. That's all I'm asking. Okay, that's all I'm asking. Now, in the Eternal film, it did give you an indication of the Black Knight who was going to be showing up in the Blade movie. Corey, I also saw that Elsa Bloodstone was going to be in the Blade movie as well.
Who's that?
That's from Werewolf by Night, the chick.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I did see that she was going to be in it. So
they announced that Blade movie. They brought that dude out. What? Who's playing Blade? It's that one guy.
Mashur, I can't say his name.
Mashur Ali or something like that. I think his last name's Ali. But they brought him out on stage in Comic-Con like 4 years ago and announced that movie. Right?
Yeah,
that movie should have already been out by now.
Oh, it was supposed to come out next year, but they said that they had like 80 pages worth of script and they had like 2 fight scenes. I'm like, guys, let me tell you something about Blade. The man don't wake up in the morning and make coffee at Starbucks. He's not a struggling writer or anything. He's a vampire slayer, okay? So this doesn't need to be too complicated, all right? I mean, you know what I'm saying? The plot could be real simple here, all right?
I want to see
to kill vampires.
Yeah, I want to see a Blade Twilight crossover. Let's make that happen. Let's make that an extended universe where Blade goes and hunts down all the werewolves and vampires from Twilight.
You're gonna bring Robert Pattinson back for that role.
Hey, you can play two different characters. Play Batman and
There we go. All right, so they've scrapped. I ain't gonna lie to you. They scrapped about 13 projects when James Gunn came in. From what I'm seeing up here, of course, Man of Steel sequel. They had a Krypton they were coming out with. Had a Harley Quinn versus the Joker, which I guess was going to be a follow up of the Birds of Prey movie. They had an Untitled Joker film they were working on. New Gods, Black Manta, Supergirl, Wonder Twins, Wonder Woman sequel. So they scrapped a lot during that time. We're going to get
when you're reading that list of movies that were supposed to come out, X Cubed. Are you not grateful that they're scrapping it? Because those are some shitty movies that they were about to develop. Like those titles alone were god awful. That wouldn't have went over. No wonder they're scrapping it. No wonder James Gunn's coming in and be like, "Nah, get this shit out of here. We're done with all this nonsense."
All right, so we've got some numbers here, okay? As far as box office. So the only film that made over $1 billion worldwide was Aquaman. That was it. That was the only one. Yeah. And
Wonder Woman didn't crack. How much did Wonder Woman make? 900,000?
Wonder Woman was $822 million. Batman vs Superman was $873 million. Now since Aquaman, okay, which was December 2018, here has been their servings. Shazam, $366 million. Birds of Prey, $205 million. Wonder Woman, 1984, $169 million. Suicide Squad, $168 million. And then Black Adam, $391 million. Now, this is worldwide. So those are terrible numbers, to be honest.
I really don't understand how you have Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson when almost every movie that he's been in before Black Adam has made over $1 billion. I'd have to look that up, but I'm pretty sure every movie that he's been in for like the past 4 or 5 years has cracked over $1 billion. Besides maybe that one comedy with Kevin Hart and stuff, because comedies don't really ever make over
do anything.
Yeah, over $1 billion. But I'm just stunned that a Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson movie that is the most highest paid actor, one of the most wanted actors in Hollywood, made, what did you say, 350,000?
No, 391 million. This is worldwide. This is worldwide. Yeah. This is worldwide. So, I mean, if we're talking about U.S. and because they group U.S. and Canada together, we're talking about 167 million.
What's the domestic box office on it?
Yeah, that's the way Wiki is linking these together. They're linking U.S. and Canada as one, so it would be 168 million for that, which is still better than the previous 4 offerings. Suicide Squad was 55, Wonder Woman 1984 was 47, Birds of Prey was 84. But more folks went and watched Birds of Prey than Wonder Woman 1984. Now, of course, that was December of 2020, so I could kind of see why there was a little something going on then.
Well, that's also because Margot Robbie's hot as shit. So they're like, I don't care if this movie sucks or not. I want to go see Margot Robbie.
Yeah, and then Shazam was 140, and then Aquaman was the 335. Just the Justice League actually did pretty terrible. Worldwide, it didn't do but 658 million. So Justice League it actually did. Yeah. Out of all the movies before Aquaman, that was the least watched. That's kind of weird.
Well, another reason
you figured we get more people in.
Well, a big reason why Justice League didn't go over well is because almost immediately before Justice League dropped, Avengers Civil War dropped. So Avengers Civil War just completely blew Justice League out of the water. It was like a month after. They were a month in between each other. So it was like, we just went and seen a really awesome Marvel movie with Tony Stark and Spider-Man as Spider-Man's first appearance in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Then we have this shit show.
And Ant-Man in there had first appearance of Black Panther. It's just like, all of a sudden you're like, wow. You know what I'm saying? And that was actually a well-done film as well. So, yeah, I guess that's the case. So yeah, that's the DCEU. It is a complete disaster right now. It's going to be kind of interesting to see where the rest of these films go for the rest of the year. I got a question, and I'll start with you, Corey. Do you feel like if any of these films do extremely well, any of these next 4 films do extremely well, do you think they might keep some of the content from it and transfer it over into the new?
Yeah, I think they'd be foolish not to, and I think that you might see some backtracking on some of this stuff. Like Ryder said, like how can you have some people stay and some people get replaced? It just doesn't make any sense. So there might be some more rational thought come through in the next couple months.
Mm-hmm. You can go ahead. What's your thoughts, Ryder?
I just don't see how they can do it. But I mean, also when you look at this from a business perspective, right? They're a business, they're a money making business before they're anything, right? They're content producers, they're there for the money. So it's not out of the realm of possibility that if one of these movies do good, but I just don't see how it can. It's impossible for any of them to do good. Definitely when James Gunn came out and said that he's scrapping all of it, basically. Right? It hasn't been confirmed 100% that he's scrapping everything, but that's kind of the rumor that's going around is it's just a complete clean slate reboot. Right? So how can any of those movies do any better than the last 5 DC movies that's been released? I don't think it's possible.
Right.
Knowing the information that it's about to be rebooted, these movies are pretty much worthless. Is what you were saying in the beginning. They're like, no one's going to care about them because they've already announced that they're rebooting the whole thing. So I think that if it did do good, but I think it's impossible for it to do good. I don't think there's any way that any of these 4 other movies that's coming up that was a part of this old DCEU universe is going to make anything over 300 million.
No and you're getting one of these movies every quarter. So you're getting one of these movies every quarter this coming up here in 2023 because they've still got 4 left, and all 4 are coming out next year.
And then what are these actors going to do whenever they're doing the promotion for these movies? Like that's going to be that's going to be like the biggest elephant in the room, right? Like why are you even here? Why are you even like James Gunn just said he's scrapping all this stuff? Like what's the point of even being here? That's the first question as a reporter or a journalist that I was interviewing any of these actors would be from me. Be like, what's the point in doing this, right? Because he's already saying that he's going to scrap all these movies. So it's literally worthless. I think that they should just release them all on VOD. All of the movies, instead of putting them in the theater, just release them all on VOD, release them on iTunes, put them on HBO after a little bit, and just do it like that instead of doing a theatrical release because they're just going to lose money. They're going to lose a shit ton of money. But
just let it ride like that.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, because we got to think when I'm telling those numbers, that's just what it grossed. That's not what the actual film took in because, of course, the theaters are going to take some money and things of that nature. So a lot of these projects right here recently have been losses overall with the amount of budget that they've had to put into them. Because, of course, CGI costs. Aquaman was $200 million budget. Shazam was $100 million. Birds of Prey 85. Wonder Woman 1984 $200. Suicide Squad 185 and Black Adam 195. How was Wonder Woman 1984 more budget than Black Adam? How? Was there any impressive CGI in Wonder Woman 1984?
It was garbage CGI. Garbage. Like whenever she was swinging around in the city and all that, it looked like it was like a stop motion video camera that was filming her. It was god awful, but that's basically what Patty Jenkins was going for, and I'm pretty sure that's why they was like, yeah, Patty, you're gone. Pack up your stuff and leave the office. Because if you do another thing like Wonder Woman 1984, then get out of here. And they looked at her script, and that's basically what James Gunn said. They looked at her script and they were like, yeah, we're not moving forward with this. And Patty Jenkins came out with a statement and was like, hey, blah, 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 blah. So, hey, I don't know. I think it's going to be a big, huge scrapping come. But Joker is already in production. So when is the Joker slated to release?
I'm talking about Joker 2?
Yeah.
Joker 2 release. October 4th, 2024. So they're
going to keep that then. They're going to keep that Joker movie and probably the Batman then, because James Gunn is saying after Aquaman 2 is whenever the full-scale reboot into the new DCEU starts. So if Joker is after that in 2024, then that means that they're keeping the Joker and Joaquin Phoenix's Joker.
Mm-hmm. Yep. All right. So any final thoughts, Corey, on the DCEU and where you would like to see it go?
Again, I just want to see simpler plots. I want to see simpler themes. I'm tired of this large-scale multiverse crossover, save the universe 10 times over. No. Give me a good thug and some drug dealers and a low-key bad guy a good guy who's got to take him out, and that's it. Like, go back to the original Spider-Man themes, the original Superman themes. Even Lex Luthor is too big for what I want to see.
Even Lex Luthor. Okay. Ryder, what do you think?
I think they should just come out guns blazing, do a Justice League movie right off the rip, just get it out there, and then start their standalone movies based off of that first Justice League film that comes out. And if they do it right, they do it the reverse order that Marvel has done it, and they do it well, it'll be successful. That's really the only way that I can see this whole thing going. That's really their only option at this point, I think, anyway. My personal opinion.
Okay. All right. Well, here's what I think. All right. Bring him in. Because Bode's screwed, man. Dang it, man. And these folks are screwed, but I understand James Gunn's this mastermind. He's made some good films in the past, but the way he's approaching this right out the gate, man, I think he is sticking both his feet in quicksand, all right? And there's nobody to throw a rope or anything. So maybe he has a plan that he's been working on that's unbeknownst to the rest of us. And that could always be the case. But 16 movies in to reboot is asking for not much to happen in about 3 or 4 years. That's all I'm saying.
Then when you look at that lineup of movies that they were planning on doing, that was kind of in pre-production. Yeah, they're garbage movies. Like they're garbage. Who wants to see any of that?
Black Manta looks cool. I thought it looked cool. I like the Black Manta, but as a villain. But I was just like, But I'm understanding what you're saying there, Ryder. Yeah, but yeah, it's a sad day. Sad day for the DCEU, guys. We want to know what y'all think about this in the comment section below. What are y'all looking forward to? Do y'all know some things we don't know? Let us know. We do appreciate our resident DCEU expert, DC expert overall, Mr. Ryder Lee. We do appreciate you being on the show, and maybe we can have you on some more shows. You know what I'm saying?
I'm totally down. Totally down. Thank you.
Movie guy. We do trailers. We do all kind of stuff. We got a couple films right here that we're going to be checking out. February looks like it's going to be a very busy month. Cocaine Bear, Shazam, Ant-Man and the Wasp. So, man, I'm going to be at the theater about every weekend. I got to get to Cocaine Bear.
We got to see Cocaine Bear. Yeah. There's no not seeing Cocaine Bear.
Yeah. That's White Shenanigans in its finest form. So we appreciate everybody for checking us out on this episode of Showtime with the Cube. Ryder, we'll get up with you as far as doing stuff in the future. And we do appreciate you being on with us for this particular episode. Appreciate all the intel. Corey, as always, as always. So we will catch y'all on the next episode of Showtime with the Cube. Peace out.